Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to Risk of Rain 2. For those who have been around the channel for a long time, it's been a long time since I've heard something from Risk of Rain 2, but Exotic wanted me to get to this one that I am not even going to attempt to pronounce. So I'm just going to go with, this is the song that I'm going to be listening to. You read the title, and I suppose without further ado, let's go! Really excited, honestly. I remember loving a lot of these. Ooh. Oh, okay. Did not expect the double pedal. Gotta be real. I thought it was just gonna be a little cheeky double pedal fill there. But no, we're like committed to that. Ooh. Ooh, it's gross. Ew. Not in a bad way, by the way. It's just like a lot of very interesting choices of progression on there. Very like, I mean, very metal in those choices. He's like half step jumps. That's what's doing it a lot. Very chromatic. Again, though, very metal. They love doing that shit. Okay. I don't know entirely what that instrument might be. I don't think it's a sitar. I feel like it's too high. It's probably just another, like, Indian stringed instrument. I don't know those that well. Woo! Woo! Okay, little jump there. Okay, Chris, Jesus. Woo! Nice scaling there. Sounds like a keytar. That is insane. I really do wonder if this is just like him playing this on like a MIDI keyboard and just going to town on it. It's obviously not a guitar. If it was actually a keytar, that would be sick as hell, though. They could modulate like that. A little snappy on the ending there, too. Man, it's been too long since I've heard anything from this game. Chris is a phenomenal composer, and this is definitely no different. You know, you would figure in my recent studies of the musical world of India, I would recognize a mantra when I see one, but I didn't recognize that that's what the title was. Yeah, that totally is what that is. I looked it up just to see how it was pronounced, to see if I could try to redeem myself. I'm not going to, but I did learn that it was a Sanskrit sort of mantra from that area. So I was kind of right when I guessed that maybe there was an Indian instrument in there, because that would be the right part of the world. It might not be specifically from India, but definitely like that area could be Tibetan as well. It's just like, it just in general, that homogenous pool in Asia. So it's like, okay, let's figure out what's going on here. There was a lot going on here. I think what was so interesting about this one was it was very metal, like I said, but it was very chromatic in that way too. And that's not so much a thing done in Western metal. And while it is done, of course, I'm not trying to say it isn't, it's definitely used in like the Middle East and Asia. Like they love that, you know, like the metal scene over there is completely different from the one that we have in the West. And while they definitely share a little bit of DNA, they definitely have their own inspirations from their own traditional and local styles of music. It's kind of similar to how like System of a Down is an Armenian American band, and it's like they brought in some of that influence with their sound, which is why they sounded so unique. So it's sort of with that, you know, like this has some of that DNA where I can't necessarily place it because I don't live in those areas. And despite my recent studies on the musical culture in those areas, because I do loves me reading up some random musical culture, because God, the world is so full of it. It's gorgeous, and every culture has a little bit of something different. I just somehow missed that would have been a Sanskrit sort of base for the title. That's still bugging me. I really should have noticed, because like once I looked at it again, I was like, oh, it just hit me like a freight train. But that's beside the point. This is still super interesting because it had a lot of that DNA in there as well. You could tell that there was inspiration coming from other parts of the world, and it wasn't just a guy going, oh, you want metal? Here you go, and then giving us the most standard butt rock 0 in 1 chugs ever, you know? This had more to it. This had a culture behind it that is so much more unique than most games I've heard songs for that try to do the same thing, you know? Like, they're like, oh yeah, let's just do some metal. And they do exactly what I said, 0s and 1s, and they hire a very like average singer to sing stuff. And while there's definitely exceptions to that, it's not the rule. It's still like pretty commonly what happens. And again, I love that shit too. Don't get me wrong here. I'm not trying to like slight any sort of music. I am an all genre sort of lover. But it's songs like this that have a little bit more effort into including those different styles in them and those different inspirations that make them feel much more lived in. It makes the world feel so much more connected to the song itself, instead of just being an insert song that anyone could have written. And it's really just like, oh, we have a tomboy, okay, she probably likes punk, you know, it's just writing about that, you know, that's the level of stereotypical I'm talking about. Whereas this feels like a location. It feels like there's actually a world connected to this, and that happens in other games as well, but it just feels so personal for this one. There's just something, maybe it's just the fact that the production is a little bit softer than I'm used to. It's not quite as like heavily produced. There's a little bit more flavor to it, I guess. It's not so clean, which isn't a bad thing at all. It's been so long since I've heard something from Chris that I'm probably forgetting what the old songs sounded like, and I've heard a metric fuck ton of music since then too, and a lot of it is a little bit more clean. So hearing stuff like this that's a little bit more of like that indie flair to the mix, I would say it's not that it's bad, it's just that it's a different essence to the sound. It's a whole different profile from what I'm used to hearing, and a lot of games and a lot of companies are leaning into that heavily produced sound. And while that's all fine and good, there's definitely part of me that misses hearing stuff like this. It's also something that I've been experiencing recently while listening to like Roblox games, you know, like the songs people make for those. A lot of them aren't like pros or anything. They have a little bit of that indie edge to them. And while there's definitely a few in there who do know exactly what they're doing, I think Chris kind of feels like he falls between there with this one. And that's odd because like his other songs have had a different production style, like a different mixing style that feels more produced, and this one just didn't. So I'm sure that that was intentional, just to get a certain vibe out of it. The drum kit specifically, like the mix for that and the guitars felt softer. It didn't feel so harsh in the high ends. It was a little bit more pulled back in order to let some other elements shine through. And it's just like, okay, like there's a point where when you're mixing stuff, you're like, okay, what do I need to remove in order to let these other factors of the song shine and be able to peek through? Where usually you would want stuff like the guitars and the drums to be at the front and like so loud you can hear them, and so forward and so clean and so overly produced that you can truly understand every single little tiny hit. And there's something about the muddiness left in this that just feels so damn good. I really don't know how to explain it. And that kind of bugs me because I'm usually decent at figuring out words for these sorts of things. But I mean, like, Chris nailed this sensation of having a world in a song, and that is something that's honestly a little bit more rare recently for me. So fucking hell yeah, Chris. This is really nice to hear. I love the inspiration for it. I love the way that it was blending all of these different flavors in there. And it felt like a place that I would want to actually experience. And that's probably the highest praise you can offer to most composers who are making something for a game that has a world you're supposed to want to be in and spend time in and feel like a part of, you know? Chris did that. And recently I've been hearing a lot of songs that are more or less just made to be pretty on top of it, or reflect the mood of the scene, but at large are very produced for that hyper-specific moment in the storyline. And for this one, it just felt like it would be something that you would kind of hear being played. So I think that's pretty much the long and short of it. I've been yapping about this for a while. I didn't really anticipate to go on such a yap fest about it, but sometimes people just make songs that get me in a certain way, in a certain headspace, that I don't know how to get out of because I don't know how to get into it either. Like, it's so weird. It's like I'm forced into this mental space of, here's this thing that has so much character and so much flavor and so much originality that you're kind of at a loss for words for anything that would be even somewhat impactful to that existing work. Like, I can't add to this. The song speaks for its fucking self, right? Like, it doesn't need me to talk about it because it knows exactly what it is. And Chris made it so much of an identity that I really have nothing to add to it. This is one of those songs that speaks 100% its own truth for itself, and you don't need a fucking guy like me yapping about it, really. So I'm just gonna end the video here. I'll probably cut half of this out because I'm sure a lot of it is just me fucking blabbering about nothing, because it is so hard to think of a through thread when a song is so confident in its own identity like this and makes you feel so welcome in that space. So hell yeah, Chris, yet again. Thank you all so very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to give me something else from Risk of Rain or any other game, by all means, drop in the comments below. Hopefully I'll have a little bit more to say about it next time, and thank you, Exotic, for putting this into the executive producer queue. If you want to guarantee something from the queue, much like Exotic did, you can always go to my Patreon or my YouTube memberships. There's a tier that will force me to listen to whatever you want. Doesn't matter what it's from, who it's by, if it's good, bad, none of that matters. That's why it's a guarantee. If you don't want to do any of that, though, and you just want to follow me and support me for more stuff coming in the future, you know how to do all that, and I will see all of you in the next video. Goodbye!